Flatbed is where the work gets physical, the skills get specific, and the rates reflect it. If your carrier runs an open deck trailer, flatbed, step deck, RGN, or lowboy, you're operating in a niche that requires more knowledge, more coordination, and more attention to safety than dry van or reefer. And in exchange for that, you typically earn more per mile. Let's talk about what open deck freight is, what it takes to move it, and how to maximize earnings for a flatbed carrier. A flatbed trailer is an open, flat platform with no walls or roof, typically 48 or 53 feet long and about 8.5 feet wide. Because there's nothing enclosing the freight, you can load from the sides, the top, and the rear, which makes flatbeds ideal for freight that's too large, too irregularly shaped, or too heavy to fit inside an enclosed trailer. Construction materials, steel coils, lumber, heavy machinery, agricultural equipment, pipe, and building supplies are common flatbed commodities. A step deck, sometimes called a drop deck, has two deck levels, an upper deck at the front and a lower deck after a drop step, which allows it to carry taller freight than a standard flatbed without exceeding height restrictions. Oversized equipment, large machinery, and certain manufactured goods move on step decks. Here's what your carrier needs to know, and what you need to know about their capabilities. Securement. Flatbed carriers are required by federal law to properly secure all cargo using straps, chains, binders, coils, and edge protectors based on the specific commodity and its weight. The FMCSA has detailed cargo securement regulations under Part 393 of Federal Motor Carrier Safety Standards. Your driver must know these rules and apply them correctly. Improper securement is a roadside inspection violation, a potential accident cause, and a cargo liability. If your carrier is new to flatbed, make sure they know the securement requirements before you dispatch them on open deck freight. Tarping. Many flatbed loads require the freight to be tarped to protect it from weather. Tarping a full flatbed load is physically demanding work and takes experience to do properly. Some carriers charge tarping fees, additional compensation for the work involved. When you negotiate a flatbed load, ask if tarping is required and factor that into the rate conversation. A 2.00 per mile rate on a 500-mile load that requires full tarping is a different value proposition than the same rate on a drop and hook. Oversize and overweight permits. Some flatbed freight exceeds standard dimensional or weight limits, too wide, too tall, too long, or too heavy for standard lanes. This freight requires permits from each state the load will travel through, and sometimes pilot cars or escort vehicles. Permit loads pay significantly higher rates to compensate for the complexity, but they also require a carrier with the right experience, the right connections for permit acquisition, and the planning knowledge to route the load legally through each state. Rate per mile for flatbed typically runs higher than dry van, often by $0.20 to $0.50 or more, depending on the lane and the commodity. Specialized loads, oversized, heavy haul, high value steel can run significantly higher. Your negotiation for flatbed should reflect the specialized skill and additional work your carrier is providing. When searching load boards for flatbed freight, filter specifically for flatbed or step deck. Note the dimensions and weight listed for each load. Be honest with your carrier about what a load requires before they commit. A carrier who shows up at a shipper and discovers the load requires tarping equipment they don't have is now in a tow-you situation. Flatbed carriers who know their equipment, know securement, and are willing to do the work that comes with open deck freight can build very strong earning lanes. Your job is to make sure every load they haul is a load they're actually set up to run properly.